Something special for you guys, just to say thank you for coming out in this treacherous snowstorm, the blizzard of 2018. So all my dancers are going to come back out, catch their breath, something that I didn't do yet, and then yeah, let's sing. Two more. Here they go. All right, can we get a hand one more time for the cast of Legendary, please? Time, come out here, Time. Where are you? All right, so, guys, what I wanted to do quickly, and please just bear with us for a little while. If you have to leave, you're more than welcome to. Just know it is a $20 exit fee. $10 if you're cute. So basically, I wanted to have like a small talk back. Because although that this show does revolve around voguing and gay culture and drag and so many amazing elements, it also talks about a lot of things that are very, very, very personal to all of us as well. So the cast sitting up here, we created this show last year, and what I love about the show is that this show literally reflects our lives. So I'll let you guys know that every single story that you heard tonight is a personal story from each individual actor. And what we did is that we basically took those stories and made it more dramatic and kind of infused it with Vogue and ballroom and dance and stuff like that. So, but at the core of all of it, I wanted to show how everyone is special and how everyone's personal story all ties into one. And at the very, very end, you kind of see as people do their confessionals and leave, that they leave the spot on the ground. And as they leave and everyone's gone, you can see that that spot is the rainbow. And so it really represents who we are as queer people of color, but also just as humans as well. So, with that being said, I wanted to basically just open it up for questions. If you guys had questions about anything that you saw, it could be dance related, it could be about the stories, it could be about the queer culture here in Philadelphia. It could be about who made these amazing outfits, my best friend. It could be about why halfway through one of my leggings fell down and looked like that. Whatever you want to ask is definitely just for, just up for anyone. But I want to ask a question just to go. And just for my panel right here, let me just say, to keep it brief, only like 2 answers per question, please. And please, step up and step back, let people answer that haven't and vice versa. So let me just ask you guys, first of all, how does it feel to basically be vulnerable and put yourselves out there and, in front of a huge crowd? Because for all you know, your parents or your loved ones could be sitting right there watching you tell your own personal story. So how does it feel telling your story in fabulous outfits every single night? Yes?
So for me personally, hi. Oh, hey everyone, my name is O'Shea, aka Sage. So as far as being vulnerable on the stage, one thing I've learned is that when you're vulnerable, whatever you are being vulnerable about, it's coming from the heart. And what I learned through dance is what comes from the heart, it touches the heart. And so that's my view on being vulnerable on stage. So I hope I touched at least one of you guys with what I did.
Hello, my name is Otis. In response to the question, I feel like it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard, especially because my scene dealt with HIV and the stigma behind it. I feel when it comes to relating to older folks, I find myself being able more comfortable to open that up because I'm able to share my quest and how I conquered it, and that can relate to a lot of older people. While there's a generation coming up that, they don't know what to do. They don't know how to take care. They don't know how to take that information they got and turn it around. The first thing they go is to that dark place, and that was the dark place that I had. And so I've always felt like, in order to be vulnerable, I have to be real. I have to, be blunt about, what happened, being out at the clubs, drinking, and stuff like that. But I don't want to hold too much. But it's very choosy for me to be vulnerable, but opposed to this scene, it kind of puts me out on the forefront. And I'm already an activist within the community, so it kind of was a little easier to come out. But if this was a couple of years ago, it would be a whole lot harder.
Thank you. Were any? Oh, yes, claps are free. So do we have any questions from the audience members, like I said, about anything? Maybe about voguing, about the style of dance, about anything that you saw here tonight? Maybe like my Cash App tag, you know, something like that. You want to send me some money? Here we go. Huh? Oh, did them up perfect?
My question is how many of you have professional dance training and how many of you have just like learned from doing?
Cool. I can actually quickly answer that for everyone. Raise your hand if you went to and graduated from UArts. Raise your hand. Okay. All right. Raise your hand if you have studied with Philadelphia or any of those type of huge. Okay. Raise your hand if you have had like classical musical theater or theater training. Okay. And raise your hand if you are just an amazing dancer and just love to dance and want to catch on like everyone else. So yes, Tanisha, to answer your question. Huh?
And then you, of course.
Oh no, I raised my hand. So we are a dance group. So we are known as Xcel Dance Crew, XCL. And so we've been doing shows together for about 4 years or so. It started with just like doing stuff in like community, like little small things like, you know, the youth center is having a talent show, like stuff like that. And now it has ranged from, we have viral videos on YouTube that have over 6 million views. Several of us up here went to Paris a few years back and we toured around Europe for 6 months performing with different artists. We have worked with folks, some of Bernie Sanders people had contacted us years ago and we made a like video for like young people to kind of get into Bernie Sanders and it went up on his website and that was like viral for a while. So like we've worked with a lot of people. So I want to say personally, thank you to all of you for always continuing to follow me. And I can honestly say, let y'all know, it always hasn't been paid. Like I'm usually like, hey girl, I really need you to do this gig for me. It's free, but I'll buy you McDonald's afterwards. So I want to say thank you to you all for always believing in me and following me. And I'm happy that we can keep pushing on and doing bigger and better things. All right, where's my next question at? All right, I have one right over here. Can we? Oh, perfect.
Like an audition process, or did you just come together organically?
So the majority of us, we all started out at the Attic Youth Center. So the Attic Youth Center is Philadelphia's only gay youth center. It's located right on 16th and Spruce. And so they have a lot of like very creative groups such as dance, theater. They have a Vogue group. They have just tons and tons of groups. So yeah, sure. Raise your hand if you ever went to the Attic Youth Center as a member or a participant at all.
We started, bro.
Yeah, right, yeah. So actually, Marsha and I actually started Vogue Group. And so through that, we kind of linked with each other through voguing, but essentially the ballroom scene has always united all of us. Like, we are all in different houses and we, you know, all go out and so even last night, there was a ball downtown and we had a show last night. So literally, after the show was done, we went to the ball and like, you know, we're all like family in here and then we get to the ball, we're like, we're gonna win, you know, forget you, you know, so it's always fun being on different teams and having different dynamics. And Hank had something to add as well.
I just wanted to follow up on that.
What?
But I'm trying to get to the.
He forgot his line, don't worry.
So the stories that you guys seen tonight, they all link actually in our real lives as well. The story that you're seeing it kind of shows you how we did kind of come into each other. Ballroom is the reason why we are all together. If none of us had joined Ballroom or been a part of Ballroom, we wouldn't know each other. So all of our stories are our own stories, but they intertwine through Ballroom, and that is our LGBT outlet for us to go to and express ourselves through dance and music and be creative. So just to keep your eyes on Ballroom, like Ballroom is the mainstream of a lot of relationships and the real life, celebrity lifestyle, and everything mostly that you see on TV.
Next question. All right, it's right here.
So I saw this last year and absolutely loved it, so I came back.
Thank you.
And I realized that I need more ballroom in my life, so I'll track down more ballroom events.
Awesome.
Did anyone want to answer that? Tori?
I can answer that.
Beautiful Tori.
Ballroom is really everywhere. literally, because it's kind of like you said, it's like a circuit that everybody kind of found underground. So once you find someone involved in ballroom, all you have to do is literally ask the question, hey, can I go? And somebody can literally take you, and anybody's welcome to participate. I know it's about, you see up here, you see everybody is a part of the LGBTQ, there's a lot of letters. But you see everybody is a part of that whole rainbow, but it literally, the basis of ballroom is accepting of everybody, of every walk of life, whether, homelessness, not just homeless gay youth, but that's just the story that we tell. But there are people that have entered into ballroom that come from heterosexual lifestyles, like all positive, negative, it just brings people into a positive life and saying, well, hey, where the world is throwing you away, we'll accept you. And you can come and become legendary, no matter who you are, no matter whether you go home and sleep on an air mattress every day and you eat cheese sandwiches every day, you can come here and feel like $1 million because we are all accepting of everyone. So yes, anybody is welcome. Just ask the question and you can go.
All right, next question.
Thank you.
Yes, right over here.
What are the hallmarks of Philly's scene? Whether it's like technical to the dance or within the culture, like what makes Philly special compared to other
All right, I'm gonna let Marsha go, then I'll come right over here.
Philly hasn't really been special. The club scene died, let's be honest, let's be real. Our drag scene, because I'm a professional drag queen out of this, is dying. And we're at cutthroat. We're literally cutthroat with each other for bookings. The ballroom scene, we're here, we just got rebirthed, actually, with the help of a few people here, like the icon Ziggy and Kemar for opening a chapter in Philly, and Tori for being a mother and having a big house when the ballroom scene was created, and Hank, that's the father of a house. So,
Newly legend.
Newly legend. Newly legend. As am I. Thank you. So yeah, to answer that, it's here, but it's not as vibrant. It's not as It's not as like, oh my God, girl, we're going out Saturday because we did this last week and we're going to do this again. It's like, girl, I don't know about that.
Yes, just for a quick history. Philadelphia was actually the second city in the world that had ballroom. So of course everything started in New York. So the first real ball was in 1969 in Harlem. And so and 20 years later, in 1989, was the Onyx Ball. That was the very first ball outside of New York, and it happened in Philadelphia. So Philadelphia has like a long history of ballroom, and also a lot of like ballroom icons. So just for like a terminology sake, a legend is someone who has been in the ballroom slaying, winning, traveling, making moments, and a name for themselves for about 7 to 10 years. An icon is someone who's been doing it for 20 years. And so Philadelphia has people who've been walking balls since the 90s who live in Philadelphia and who have started houses, who continue to push forward and make moments and names for themselves. So that's why we had to clap for Hank, because Hank has been walking for like 8 years, and just on Sunday that just passed, there was a huge ball in DC. Over 900 people were there, and he was called up on the stage to be deemed legendary in front of 900 people. So that is very, very important. So that is why I actually named the show Legendary, because the whole point of the ballroom scene, back in the day, it's different now, but the whole point was to be a legend. Like, you want to become legendary and be called out as Legendary Kemar. Like, that was the goal. And just like what Tori said, I can be a bus driver and deal with kids all day, but when I go to a ball, I am the legend. And I always tell people there is no other place on earth where a trans woman of color's name can be called and everyone stands to their feet and claps and celebrates them. That is the only place in the world for that. And that is why, to me, ballroom is very special. I wanted to go to Tori one time.
Okay, so to completely answer your question, the thing that makes Philadelphia in particular special within the ballroom community is that it is unique for its known creation of its talent. With its trans women, there are many women who have fallen, God rest in peace, But it's known for making and taking like that pure raw talent next to our sister, New York City, but Philadelphia is known for its uniqueness, creating some of the most beautiful women, also creating some of the first ballroom houses. So Philadelphia is one of the breeding grounds for when the lifestyle and the art of the lifestyle, and then it's unique to some of the first categories, like some of the first categories in the ballroom scene were created here with both trans women and heterosexual men and women within the ballroom scene. So that's one of the things. We just have a niche for talent. Drag queens, femme queens, butch queens, all that. Anybody, anything you name it, if you look up the history of ballroom, you best believe that one of those two, out of those two cities, New York or Philadelphia, you will know that one of those legends or icons are from this state, this city. So that is what makes this city special.
Thank you. Just one more quick history fact. Raise your hand if you've seen Paris is Burning. Okay, awesome. Almost everyone. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you. So, if you remember, so in Paris is Burning, there's a scene from a pageant back in 1968. And during that pageant, there's a woman, she's screaming at another woman at a pageant. You may recall what I'm talking about. But basically, her name was Crystal LaBeija. And so basically what happened was, she was a Latina trans woman, and basically she kept going to pageants and she was losing to white women, either cisgender or transgender, just because, at the time judges thought that white, being white was prettier. And so basically, in that clip in Paris is Burning, Crystal LaBeija is yelling at someone saying, listen, darling, you won, but listen, I know it's not your fault, but look at her. Her makeup is terrible. She's looking beautiful, but she's not beautiful tonight, like all of that type of stuff. The woman who she was yelling at, her name is Satina Harlow, and she's actually from Philadelphia. She's actually still alive today, and she lives in South Philly. So once again, just to kind of put Philadelphia in the whole crux of ballroom, Crystal started the first house, the House of LaBeija, after Satine Harlow from Philadelphia beat her in the pageant, and she was sick and tired of coming in second, and she left the pageant world forever and started ballroom. So in a way, you can say that Philadelphia was one of the catalysts to her creating the first ballroom house. So I always like to plug that in as well.
The movie's called Queen.
And yes, and so the actual movie where that clip is from is called Queen. It's on YouTube. Just type it in. It's hilarious. All right, I can take a few more questions. Any more questions?
Right in the front row.
Right here?
No, I was getting.
Oh, God, it was a yawn. It was a home. Any more questions? Any more questions? No. All right, so before we get out of here, I do want to say how thankful I am for all of you up here, and I want us to link, because I will connect you with like ballroom opportunities and stuff like that. Also, just moving forward, I just would encourage all of you, if you can, to support organizations who support us. So for instance, like the Attic Youth Center, the William Wade Community Center, Colors, YHAP. There's so many organizations who specifically get funding for queer youth of color, and that is how we all got our start. And so it is so amazing when you can see young people starting from nothing and just booming up and creating things. And like I said, when I was 17 and I was really going through everything in my story, and I felt like that I wanted to commit suicide, I would have never thought that in 10 years I would be traveling to Paris doing shows and a viral sensation doing music videos. All that stuff is what is in our avenues if we are given those opportunities. So with that being said, everyone have an amazing night, and we hope to see you all soon. Thank you.